Hello, crypto world. Bitstream here, making another video because there was a few things on my mind, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about some of the lessons learned from today's red tide. As you probably know by now, we had the collapse of Bitconnect today. They decided to exit the lending portion of their business. In conjunction with that, they honestly couldn't have picked a worse day because the entire crypto space is, being rattled by news or rumor from Asia, South Korea, China, all of that kind of stuff about cracking down from a regulatory standpoint. You've got the United States cracking down, or certain states in the United States cracking down on different platforms for lending, notably Bitconnect and USI Tech. You've just got a lot of culmination of the centralized powers that be dipping their fingers into this space, and it's something that we should definitely expect more of going into the future. People are definitely afraid of what they do not understand, and it's human nature to, when you're in a position where you're afraid, a lot of people out there attack, but I just wanted to kind of go over some of my thoughts now that I've had time to digest everything and try to save what I could, salvage what I could out of Bitconnect. I didn't have like a ton in there, as you know from my previous videos. Hopefully I harped on it enough, but preach diversification, not only in lending platforms and whatnot, but just overall strategy. I have money, or had money, in Bitconnect, but I also have money in Davor. I've got money in Hashflare, and actively and fervently seeking ways to diversify out of those platforms, because again, you relinquish control. You're relinquishing control over your funds and your fate to somebody else to try to make a return for you, and all those returns were very good. It's still out of your hands, so there's nothing you can do if they fold up. And at least with Bitconnect, I was able to salvage some, not all, of course, not even close to all, but some. So that is more than honestly I expected to if they decided to fold up shop. So lessons learned. What did I learn from this experience? Anytime you have a day like this or an experience like this, you want to try to take away lessons for the future, so that next time history repeats itself, which it probably will, you don't get burned as badly, or you come to expect what comes, right? So for me, I'm a little bit proud of myself in the fact that I didn't go into this Bitconnect with my eyes closed. And anybody that I told about it, and hopefully every video that I made sure that everybody else went into this with their eyes open. So although we're sad, or I'm sad to see it go, I'm sad to have it be Bitconnect, honestly, because they were the mother of all lending platforms. It's going to have repercussions and all of that through the rest of the space. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I don't feel scammed. I don't feel like somebody got something over on me. I do wish that it would have went down a different way. I don't know how you would exit in this space properly, where everybody was completely made whole. But I don't feel as though I lost my shirt because I went in full bore thinking that I was going to become a millionaire. And I know I said on previous videos, diversification, diversify, spread out, use this as a springboard to try to make gains so that you can use those profits elsewhere. Take out your initial investment if you can. Unfortunately for me, I didn't have enough time to gather enough to take out my initial investment on this one, but that's fine because I planned for that eventuality, or that possibility, I should say. It's good to see what it looks like firsthand, because it's one thing to plan for something and for something to be academic, and it's another thing to live through it. And this isn't the first time. I think I said this on my previous channel, but I used to be an options trader, and I actually got started in the market. It's very eerily similar, honestly, now that I think about it. But I got started trading stocks and options in 2007 and 2008, during the actual market crash. As a matter of fact, I think I started right at 2007, when the market was flying, and lived through the crash, and the real estate crash, lived through that. I was renting out a place at the time, all of that. So this isn't my first rodeo going through something like this. I will say that it doesn't suck less. It sucks regardless. It doesn't feel good, but fortunately, I have the benefit of having been through a similar thing before, and I can say between the two, for the most part, you're investing in things that have intrinsic value, and that being in the market sense, you're investing in stocks, you're investing in real estate, you're investing in hard assets and everything like that, and businesses that have income and everything. In this sense, cryptocurrency, you're investing in these currencies that have value because people say they do. Bitcoin is digital gold in a sense. It's a limited asset and everything like that. You've got the blockchain behind it. Where I see Bitconnect and lending platforms like it, I see them like my options trading. And if you're not familiar with options trading, options themselves do not have intrinsic value. They're basically just a handshake. So an option means nothing, and it has value for a limited time. So if I were to trade an option, that option will only be good for a set amount of time. The only difference here is that with an option, when the option is going to be worthless. With the Bitconnect and lending platforms, you don't know when they're going to be worthless. But I kind of see them in the same light, where they have a lot of value for a limited amount of time. So it's one of those things where you get in and you get out. And the value from these lending platforms is derivative of the base product, which is Bitcoin, or the interest that they pay, or whatever, the fact that you can convert it into Bitcoin later. It's not the actual coin of the lending platform or anything like that. And also in options, you could lose big. You can lose big very fast depending on how you trade it. So you have to stay on top of it, but at the same time, options put time on your side. So I could sell an options contract and collect income off of that contract for the life of the contract until it expires worthless, or whatever, where you can't really do that and make the same kind of income with a stock, but you could turn a stock into an income producing stock using options. So this type of space is very familiar to me, and I will say this. I will say what I am kind of disappointed in is is the cryptocurrency community as a whole. And honestly, I am disappointed in myself a little bit, and I'll tell you why. The cryptocurrency community has done, for the most part, from what I've seen, and I spoke to these concerns on my very first video and then on about the striation in the community when you have a program like a Bitconnect or whatever that has an affiliate program that has a multi-level marketing structure, because you don't have any objectivity, none. You have the promoters, and then you have the detractors, and they are just about always all in on their camp. So an objective person to a promoter looks like a naysayer, because they're, talking about facts that are undeniable, hopefully, and facts to a promoter when they have rose-colored glasses on are inconvenient to the product that they're trying to promote. So if you go in and say, hey, you really don't know if there's a trading bot with Bitconnect, you really don't know what their finances are, you really don't know anything, you're kind of putting your hopes into a phantom group or person or whatever, whoever's behind Bitconnect, you don't know who's pulling the strings behind there. They're probably going to call you a hater and all this kind of stuff and brush you off. Were those valid concerns, right? Which are concerns that I made clear in my previous videos. And then you have detractors, like the Pope guy that I made a video about a few days ago, who don't really have any hard facts or evidence, and they are more than willing to make up and play up fears and innuendo to sell their video and sell their own product. Kind of like a politician will scare you into voting for them. It's kind of like the same kind of thing, because it's easy and it's lazy. So you'll sit there and say, hey, you'll say the same exact thing, the same exact argument to them, and say, you don't know if they don't have a trading bot. You can't prove that. They might, but the only thing you can say is you don't know. You don't know, who's behind it. You don't know what their motivations are. So how can you sit here and talk as though you do and sit there and call them a scam when the facts displayed before us are they haven't scammed out and they have paid everybody and they have done this and they have done that up to this point? I mean, you can say that things look fishy and things you don't like, the way certain things look and are coming together, but you can't objectively proclaim scam, right? That's not right, so they'll come at you like they look at an objective person like they're a promoter of Bitconnect, and they have the rose-colored glasses on, and they're trying to scam people into getting, unsuspecting people into getting into something like a Bitconnect or whatever, when honestly all we're trying to do is find a new way to make income. I mean, people are out here working these 9-to-5 jobs or 9-to-9 jobs or whatever, making $5, $7 an hour, scrambling to make a 2% raise every year, kissing up to their boss to make a 2% raise on their income every year when inflation is 2.5%, so they're really losing money every year. We're trying to find new ways to make income, and we're finding out about this crypto space. And when we search for how to take advantage of this new undiscovered country, we're presented with something like a Bitconnect, something like a lending platform where it's easy. All you have to do is figure out how to get your coin in, and then you're going to get paid extra, right? With all of the warnings included that you don't know how long they're gonna last, only invest what you're gonna lose, the same stuff you hear on every video. You have that, and then you have what the naysayers are offering, which is nothing but negativity. They don't offer an alternative. Like every video I watch, because I try to find every way that I can find to diversify, to spread out the risk among multiple different things, you know. But what I see is just the naysayers naysaying. They don't offer alternatives. They don't say, here's what you do, here's the results that you could possibly expect, here's the risk in this alternative way. Don't do Bitconnect, do this instead, and here's exactly how you do it. They spend all of their time bashing these platforms. You don't offer any alternatives. You don't address the fact that, you know, people coming into this space, they have jobs and they have lives and they have things to do, and they don't have the know-how a lot of the times to sit in front of a computer and trade cryptocurrency, especially as volatile as it is. As volatile as it is. They don't have the expertise inherently to know about the fees and every exchange's different rules and all the different buttons, and, you know, how to do this and how to do that, and when to tell when it's a good time to buy. When it's hard for me, and I've got years of experience trading. It's even hard for me. You expect grandma to come in here and you laugh and point your finger at grandma and the person that she's listening to, saying, hey, come on with me and let's try to make a few dollars on this side. Let me show you how. Because all of the promoters for Bitconnect, they'll walk you straight on through how to get into the platform, how to do everything, how to move money from fiat to Bitcoin and everything, which is more than you guys ever show. But, you know, let me stop ranting on this, because honestly, I kind of get caught up, and this is where I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I kind of get caught up in the ignorance of it all, you know. And this one thing that I hate is just ignorance. It's people not taking the time to think logically, not using critical thinking to think through some of these things, and they just emotionally feed themselves. Like, you should see them right now dancing that Bitconnect is falling. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know, like, it kind of feels like when Mt. Gox went down, were people dancing on the grave of Mt. Gox and all of the Bitcoin that, you know, was robbed from people? Were they happy to see that so they can feel good about saying, I told you so? You know, nobody that I remember even seeing, even the people that I don't really vibe with, that I don't really like watching, I don't remember anybody sitting there saying that Bitconnect was going to last forever, put all of your money in, and it's guaranteed to make you rich. What I remember seeing is people showing what they did, what their results were. Here it is right on the screen. This is what happened for me. If you want to try it yourself, here you go. Here are the risks. Don't do more than you can afford to do, afford to lose. And anybody that I talked to Bitconnect about, you can ask them. They were kind of shocked. They would, you know, when I tell them only invest whatever money that you feel comfortable putting in front of yourself and lighting on fire. And this is why. This is why, because I know what it feels like, and I put that analogy out there for that very reason, that shocking analogy, because it feels like you just put money in front of yourself and lit it on fire. That's what it feels like on days like this. So there's not a person out there that I talked to in person that wasn't prepared for a day like this. And they went in with their eyes wide open. So I don't understand the happiness behind the I told you so. I told you it was this, I told you it was that. I mean, what about all of the companies that go out of business every day? Legit companies that go out of business every day. Small businesses, large businesses, whatever. What about the Enrons? You know, What about those companies? Were people dancing in the streets saying, I told you Enron was this and that? Maybe they were. I don't put it past anybody, but I'm just saying, why? Why do you rejoice in people's despair? Like, it's kind of disgusting to me. But anyway, that's my lesson. What I'm trying to get to, and I know I keep ranting, but what I'm trying to get to is I'm disappointed in myself for falling into that. And I kind of knew I would, but I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to feed the trolls. I don't want to feed that negativity, because all it does is it hurts cryptocurrency as a community. Because just like people are dancing in the streets about Bitconnect falling and I told you so, how's that feel, and all that kind of stuff, there's other people outside, there's government officials and whoever else, there's the Jamie Dimons of the world that are dancing in the streets at the fall of Bitcoin right now. Because just like Bitconnect is fallen or has fallen, so too has Bitcoin today. It's a red tide. I mean, this is actually good for today. It's actually come back a little bit. But there are people out there sitting there saying, wagging their finger, I told you so. Look at this. I told you so. I told you not to get into that phantom coin. I told you not to get into that digital garbage. You were stupid for even thinking it was going to be a thing. Look at this. Look at this. They're calling us stupid right now. They're calling us dumb. How could we be so dumb to think, you know, phantom coins would be worth anything? Who would be dumb enough to put their real money into something like this? So as you're wagging your finger and you're pointing your finger and you're laughing at anybody who was involved in Bitconnect, there's people laughing at you right now, pointing their finger at you, smiling. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to do better as a community. Just because we don't like the product of choice of people, or we feel as though it's a scam or it's this or it's that, which it very well could be. Very well could be. Don't shoot the entire community in the foot to satisfy your need to say, I told you so. Because all the regulators are going to do is they're going to look at that and they're going to collect it, and they're going to be like, Bitconnect is a scam. This whole cryptocurrency thing is just a field full of scams, scam artists, people ripping each other off, trying to rip each other off. We need to protect people from themselves because they're not smart enough to protect themselves. We have to regulate it. That's what the entire Act of 1933 was for. This is what's getting everybody in all this trouble in the United States in the first place. That's what it was based out of, is trying to protect people from scams. So as you're sitting there crying to high heaven that a Bitconnect is a scam, which it very well may be, as I've said from the beginning, while you're up there dancing in the streets, just know that you're giving ammunition to the government regulator that's watching your video, saying, man, maybe we need to step in here and protect all these people, and I'm gonna do what I have the power to do, which is regulate. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna save people from themselves, which is exactly what you're trying to do, or you claim to do, trying to be doing. It's the same thing. Instead of informing people of what the risks are and letting them be an adult with their own money, instead of just making information known to say, okay, here's the information, now go do with it what you will. You want to play Superman and try to save people from themselves. Just give them the information and move on. But okay, I'm kidding. My lesson, and I've said my piece on this, you know, my lesson is I'm not going to get involved with, you know, what these naysayers and these tubers and all of that, these kind of people that are trying to benefit from others' demise. After this, I'm not going to get into that anymore, because all it's going to do is stress me out. It's probably going to alienate a lot of people. You know, I've got people that are looking to me to find good things to invest in, and I don't want them in that space. I don't want them in that headspace, and I'm not going to fix people. You know, responding to people and calling people out and all of these kind of things, it's not going to fix anybody. People are going to be people. You know, it's human nature. Myself wagging my finger at those people is not going to do any good. So I'm not going to partake in it anymore. I thought it would be at least a little fun to kind of sharpen my teeth on some people or whatever, but that's not what I want this channel to be about. That's not what I want my journey to be about. That's not what I want to be known for. So from this point on, they can do what they want. They can say what they want. I don't care. You know, I mean, I do care, but I'm not going to vocalize it on this channel anymore. It's going to be about crypto journey. We're going to have successes and we're going to have failures. I'm going to make known whatever risk that I can make known, and we're going to move ahead with our eyes wide open. So that's my most important lesson for me personally and for me as a channel. Now on to some other stuff, other lessons learned with this collapse. The importance of diversification, right? The importance of diversification cannot be overstated here. I feel under diversified, honestly, I do. You know, I thought Bitconnect was gonna last a little bit longer, so I thought I'd had more time to extract funds. But I did start, you know, and I told everybody to start that I know. I don't know, back when the North Carolina cease and desist hit, I told everybody to stop reinvesting right then and there, start, you know, extracting the money then, and I'm glad I did. You know, start diversifying from there, because we can't get our initial out, but we can get our gains out from that point. Yeah, I did smell something coming, so I'm glad that I started prepping early. But I thought I'd have more time. I thought it would at least last until the X ICO finished, you know. But apparently not. So diversification cannot be understated. I went into this knowing, you know, that I only need one winner. I only need one winner. Even if everything else but one loses, I only need one racehorse to cross the finish line to change my life. And that equation has not changed. So the thing about it is, the trip to zero is far shorter than the trip to $1 million, which is my goal in this whole crypto space. So I have way much more to gain than to lose. And the more soldiers I have fighting for me, then the better my chance of winning, right? So spreading out my few dollars to different platforms and different ways of earning, I think has so far been vindicated at this point, you know. And I'll make it clear again, not only I don't have all my money in lending platforms, I don't have all my money in mining, I don't have all my money in whatever. I've got it spread all over the place. I've got some in Bitcoin. I'm starting to get into altcoins. I've actually recorded a video on how to get signed up for exchanges, different exchanges out there. So people that are interested in just owning altcoins, I've got a video recorded, I just haven't edited yet, coming out about what my thoughts are on the different exchanges and how to get verified and what they are and which ones do what. I just recorded a video about some new mining platforms that are, for the most part kind of shaky, but they're again paying. So you're kind of rolling the dice on that. So you go in with your eyes wide open again. I'm sure. Well, I'm not going there. But also, and I've said this in a previous video, we're looking at master nodes, which are another way to earn passive income on cryptocurrency, which is something that I wish more people would talk about, because it's a way to earn passive income while you retain control of your currency. And I honestly don't know why more people aren't talking about it. Maybe because they're a little bit harder to set up or something. I don't know. ICOs, I recorded a video about an ICO I'm getting into, my very first one, to see how it turns out. I keep hearing that a lot of people, find a lot of success in those once they find a good one. ICOs, I've kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a thing where there's an era of ICOs. Like, I feel like ICOs, like a lot of people feel about lending programs, where you got to get in early, because once their day is done, I don't know, because there's the amount of ICOs that are coming to market. Again, just like people say about lending platforms with paying, the 1% a day or whatever is unsustainable. I think the amount of ICOs coming to market is unsustainable. Where there is a lot of potential money in cryptocurrency, I still don't think that there's enough money coming in to sustain the amount of ICOs coming. So I think we're in kind of like the golden era of ICOs. There's going to come a day where it's going to slow down. I don't know when that's going to be, but just kind of looking out to the future, I don't know if we're already past the prime or what, but there's going to come a day where the amount of money made in ICOs won't be what it was. And I think that we have to be prepared for that change, especially if your thing is ICOs. I'm looking at trading bots, which I'm very, very excited about, actually. That's probably one of the things I'm most excited about, is the trading bots as a way to earn in the crypto space. I just ran across a platform that you can trade cryptocurrency options with. Very excited about learning that. It's going to take a little bit of time to decipher, but that's a way to make money regardless of the market conditions. Just like in the stock market, you can make money in any market conditions, and the volatility of cryptocurrency lends to very, very juicy options. One of the problems with the stock market, especially on certain well-established stocks, is that they don't move much. Therefore, the options aren't very lucrative, because volatility and options go hand in hand as far as the profitability potential for options. So very, very excited for that. I'm still looking at other lending platforms. Just because Bitconnect went down doesn't mean lending platforms aren't viable. I kind of look at lending platforms kind of like a hedge fund, where you're giving some people your money to trade with, and hopefully they don't Bernie Madoff you. It's one of those things where just because this doesn't mean that, just because you can't see it or see the volatility trade bot or whatever, doesn't mean it's not there. but it also doesn't mean it is there. So it's an unknown, complete unknown, right? And I never did like that, but just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, you know? And that still holds true. I don't care if Bitconnect folded up or whatever. The only objective thing you can really say is you don't know, and if you're not comfortable with that, then don't invest in them, right? But anyway, looking at some more lending platforms, trying to see and feel them out. On the lending platform front, as far as Davor, I've said from the beginning I feel a little bit better about Davor because, like I said, I've heard the founder of Davor speak. You know, they've got people going out to France to meet the development team and all of that good stuff. Their premise of being able to trade on what do you call it? Dang, why am I blanking on that? Arbitrage. The premise of trying to trade on arbitrage is a sound premise, as I believe I showed in the video. If you see the difference, the inefficiency in the market, and there are arbitrage bots out there. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they actually have an arbitrage bot. I feel like I'm kind of pissed off. I always have to have these caveats in there, but the principle is sound. You can make a lot of money in arbitrage in these markets because the markets are inefficient and they're all over the place, and there's so many different markets and you got so many different pairs. You know, I saw the other day that Korean Bitcoin, the Korean dollar, whatever they call their currency over there, was trading $200 higher, that pair, than Bitcoin to the US dollar. So you have all kinds of opportunities all over the place to make arbitrage if you know how to take advantage of it. So the fundamental premise is sound with Davor, but it doesn't mean that they're doing it. They could just be saying it. Just because they have a guy, Julian, that says he's the founder of you know, Davor, doesn't mean he is. I mean, if you look at Laser Online, they hired a whole actor to, you know, do videos as the CEO and all this stuff. So I mean, you can't ever underestimate or overestimate the depths to which some people will go to scam, right? And that can, it's not just lending platforms. Like, I think people think this is unique to lending platforms. This could be ICOs, this could be regular companies in the United States. I mean, it could be anything. You know, I've seen people scam people out of money for selling businesses, you know, actual brick and mortar businesses, and it was a scam. So you're never really safe from somebody trying to potentially scam you. You just have to you have to kind of, you have to play it safe enough for your level, at a level that still allows you to take a risk to invest. That's why it's called a risk, because there is no guarantee in any of this, in any kind of business venture. When you make an investment, it is inherently a risk, and there's a risk that you know, it won't work out for several different reasons. It could be totally legitimate and still fail. You know, maybe just nobody wants the product that you're selling. So none of these risks are unique to lending platforms or cryptocurrency in general, or any of this. Businesses fail every day. People fail every day. People scam every day. Scams weren't invented with Bitcoin. The difference is that they're just not regulated, so you don't really have a recourse for the most part, right? Now, I hope somebody addresses that, and I think I talked about this in a previous video, where maybe we can have some kind of organization that vets a lot of these companies that want to keep their stuff all proprietary, so that they can still keep it proprietary within that organization, but you know, we could have some sort of certification that at least they've been checked out. That would be nice, but you know, who knows? But I guess you know, that's my takeaway is diversification has been vindicated, absolutely vindicated here. And I can see that people are going to be people, and that people in cryptocurrency are more than willing to cannibalize each other and cannibalize themselves without even knowing it. And that I'm not going to play that game anymore. I'm not going to be tempted by that space. I'm going to keep my channel about earning crypto, earning passive income, finding ways to have multiple streams of income using this great undiscovered country that we have before us. And it's going to be a tough road sometimes. It's going to be a tough road. You know, it's all good when all of this is green, and it feels bad when it's not, you know. And taking a look at Bitcoin real quick, I just want to take a quick peek into the chart, because I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not. I think I mentioned this on one of my very early videos where I said I felt like Bitcoin could get down to like, you know, 9,000 or something like that. But if we take a look here, I think is it the 1 year? Okay, so if we look at the overall trend, when I got into crypto, it was probably right around this peak right here. And I said back then, looking at the overall trend, if we ignore this foolishness right here, we didn't deserve to get anywhere near this high that fast. The overall history of Bitcoin had established a trend that should have led us to right around the $9,000-$10,000 mark. So if you basically, if you can imagine just chopping this off and then projecting out from this point, and it just ignore everything after this point right here and just project out to the future, we would actually end up somewhere right around where we are after this red tide. You know, 11,000 would be on the high side of that. Maybe the 9,000 would be on the low side of that. And I said I wouldn't be surprised if we end up to the 10,000, 9,000 space. Now, it took longer for us to get there, to the point where I even questioned myself, but yet here we are, and we're here on news. But we are here. And I also think that's why we stopped falling here, because the long-term trend, if you follow this line, and maybe I should get some charting software to show you this, but if you connect these dots, these lows, you'll see that they end up right around, right below $10,000 for this point in time. So in my opinion, we never deserved to get this high. Never deserved to get this high. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that knows anything about trends and everything like that, that we arrived back here. So I still believe in the long-term uptrend of Bitcoin. I think we'll see 20,000 again, but just not for a while. Not for a while, because we haven't earned it yet. Have not earned it yet. So here's where we'll be for right now. We'll probably go sideways for a little bit longer. And I said somewhere around here we're gonna get a dead cat bounce. I remember saying that we got a dead cat bounce. And we got two of them. And you know, we put in a good head and shoulders pattern. And now we're here on the other side of it. And I think we still have a little bit, honestly, I still think we got a little bit of negativity to shake out. So again, I reiterate, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 9,000. I'd be surprised if we saw 8,000, not 9,000 something. So you just have to kind of take a step back, look at the long-term view, understand we didn't deserve any of this. We didn't deserve this. So we got punished for it. Got punished for it. And this is honestly what drove me into lending platforms in the first place, and not hodling, not holding, because I knew that this was going to come. So would I buy Bitcoin now? Yeah. I think I wouldn't pile all my money into Bitcoin or anything right now, because I think this right on a day like this, usually after a big red day, you're going to have some residual selling the next day to capture or capitalize on people that are buying this dip. You're going to have some residual selling, but after it ventures sideways for a bit, definitely. Once it finds where it wants the bottom to be, definitely. This is a great price range to buy. And even if you did want to buy this dip and you're a long-term holder, I think that's a really, really good idea. Really good idea. So yeah. But anyway, I just want to talk a bit about some of the lessons that I learned. Not going to engage in any more of the negativity, any more of the naysayers or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about earning crypto. Probably should have been a wise choice to begin with, but I don't know, I had an itch that I needed to scratch, so I scratched it. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the video up or not, but there it is. So yeah, blood in the streets today, everywhere, but we'll be okay. We will be okay. It sucks for now. You'll look back and laugh once everything works out. So just remember to diversify, play it safe. Remember that at any time, at any point in the day, on any day, any of these platforms where you do not have control over your cryptocurrency can go down, and you should invest accordingly. You can make money on these platforms, but sometimes there cometh a day like today where they go away. And you just have to be prepared for it, and you have to know that that day could come. And there is a brief period at the beginning when you get into that platform where you're exposed. You're exposed, and you could lose what you put in. So hopefully it lasts long enough for you to get your initial money out, right? So there we go. All right, guys, that's my lessons learned. I probably learned more than that. I feel like every time I watch a video, I forget to mention something or say something, but there we have it. So we're gonna be moving on from here. I've got a couple new videos lined up, and I've got a video with Angela Loves Crypto. We did a nice video together that she's trying to see if she can salvage because the sound didn't work out in our favor, but hopefully that will be coming out sometime in the near future. So all right, guys, let's keep trying to make those gains. This stream is out.